All right, welcome back to episode 15 of the Dreamers podcast. We're continuing bringing you guys successful people that are doing remarkable things in their field. I'm Mani Rahman.
And I'm Asfan Musa. We're both your co-hosts. And today we're joined by Dr. Kabir Husain, who is a gastroenterologist based in Houston, Texas. He is a board-certified physician who earned his medical degree from Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine in 2019. And he completed his internal medicine residency and later a fellowship in gastroenterology and hepatology at Louisiana State University, finishing in 2025.
And he's currently at Kelsey-Seybold Clinic as a gastroenterologist, where he handles a wide range of digestive health issues, including GERD, liver disease, inflammatory bowel disease, IBS, and much more. Well, Dr. Husain, welcome to the Dreamers podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I love it.
It's your first podcast. How are you feeling?
First podcast, a little nervous, but excited. You know, this is all very official.
I'm glad you're nervous because, we're always nervous for the podcasts as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Never been recorded talking about all these things. So, I mean, I've always talked about it with friends, but now it's like
cameras are on you, lights are on you.
And it's a special podcast for us too, because it's our first DO doctor on.
DO doctor, yeah.
Nice.
We've been meaning to bring a DO doctor, like talk about the holistic approach of DO.
Right.
But I'm glad
that we were first DO doctor.
Yeah, good. No, it's you need a good mix of it all.
Yeah. Also, shout out to your parents for letting us borrow their room to film. I thought they'll be happy knowing we give them a little shout out. But we'll go straight into the questions. I want to talk about your early academic journey. I saw that you went to a boarding school in northern Indiana. How was that?
Yeah, no, that was I guess not the path always taken by everybody, right?
Yeah.
You know, I did grades 9 through 12. It's called Culver Military Academy.
Oh, wow.
And it's in Culver, Indiana, which is northern Indiana, kind of middle of nowhere, surrounded by cornfields, and you have this big campus and then a bunch of cornfields. But it was a good experience. I had taken my older brother went there, and so that's how I knew about it. But I used to go to summer camp there, you know, growing up, middle school, late elementary. Every summer I'd go there. And then one day I took a test, and I guess I got accepted to the school, and then, you know, got some scholarship offers. So then I told my parents, I was like, hey, I took this test, I got in, and I want to go. Because I figured, you know, this is probably a school that I could go places from.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I always had that in my mind.
Yeah, it's very unconventional. We never, you barely hear, especially now, people going to boarding school. So the fact that you wanted to go as well and, kind of get a head start, hey, good for you, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
how long was the whole experience? Like, how many years did you...
It was just, it was just high school.
High school, 4 years.
Like 9 through 12.
Okay.
But it's different. I mean, you're living in a building with 60 other, you know, guys, grades 9 through 12. And you grow up with them, and you're going to go to school with them and do everything with them. So it was a cool experience.
That's nice. And then I guess moving on to undergrad, you went to UT Austin, and now a little bit more unorthodox as well. You chose Bachelor of Arts in Islamic Studies.
Yeah. I guess, not the conventional path.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, I mean, I had gone to UT, and I knew I'd wanted to go into medicine. And I looked around, and everybody was, you know, bio pre-med, or, you know, biomedical sciences pre-med, something sciencey pre-med. And I did that too. You know, I started out as bio because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just know I wanted to go to med school. And then I figured out, well, everybody's doing this. Well, how am I supposed to separate myself? There's maybe 10,000 people from UT applying to medical school. So I had to figure out a way to, one, separate myself and not just be like everybody. And then also, I mean, grades play a part, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, how can I still get good grades, learn about something other than science that I'm interested in, and still make it to med school? And then I looked at a list of majors and found Islamic studies, and was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's important to talk about that too, because most people think you need science, degree to go into med school, but that's not necessarily true. You did that, and you did your prereqs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's all, I mean, everybody does the prereqs, right? And you have the MCAT, which is a standardizing exam, so that puts everybody on the same playing field. But then I think you also have to think about GPA.
Yeah.
And, you know, science classes are probably a little bit harder, especially, you know, like at UT. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be doing science forever, why not learn about
Do
something
something else.
different while I
Yeah.
have the opportunity?
Exactly, and I think it's a
And-
great
And I
opportunity.
feel like medical schools now, they're more open to it. They want to see untraditional applicants.
Right.
If you have a different background than about 90% of the students, you would stand out for sure.
Yes. And I mean, it develops your thinking in a different way.
Yeah.
I think develops like more critical thinking because most of what we did was writing papers, reading books. It adds a different aspect. And I think that's the biggest thing to take away from undergrad. I don't think you have to learn everything. You just need to learn how to think.
Yeah.
And that can take you places.
It's again, like you said, it's a numbers game too. So the fact, like, getting good grades is a really important thing for med school. And you did a smart thing. I gotta applaud you because we both we struggled. We struggled with the third majors,
science majors, and biomedical engineering. And,
I mean, like I won't lie. That's what I thought about. Like, how can I get easy A's also? Because I mean, you have to play, I think, smarter, right?
Exactly, 100% agree.
These genetics, these other higher, upper level, like science classes can be difficult. And, why make college more difficult than it needs to be if you already know you're going to go to medical school?
Exactly.
And you're going to be grinding, give yourself a little mental break, but learn about something different, broaden your horizons and separate yourself.
No, I love that part. And I guess talking post undergrad, you took a couple gap years. I want to talk about what you 2 gap years, and I want to talk about exactly what you did in those gap years that again separated you from other applicants.
Yeah. So, I didn't get in the first time I applied. So then I had to figure out, well, what do I do? How can I strengthen my application? Where is it lacking? And then I looked at that and I looked at what opportunities were out there. I, to go online, job searching, and I found scribing. I didn't really know too much about it, but I applied because it's in the medical field and I was just trying to do anything medical to put on my resume. And I also wanted to get paid. I didn't want to be unpaid. So then I found a job posting as I was like, up late searching, and I saw like ER scribing. I was like, oh, I could do that. And then I also did a little bit of research at MD Anderson.
Okay.
And I mean, that was more through like word of mouth. I know somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, and then they put us in touch. I contacted them, said, I'm very interested in pursuing a career in medicine. And, I know this is a big aspect of it, research. And, how can I just do anything related to medicine and put it on my application?
No, that's great because, again, like you said, you didn't get in the first time, but that didn't like discourage you. You're like, all right, gotta try again. So I really like that aspect of it. And I guess your MCAT, did you take that more than once too, or?
If I remember, I think I took it twice.
Twice? Okay.
And but yeah, I mean that's a tough exam.
That's a tough exam. We're about to take it in August.
Yeah. Oh,
We
okay.
signed up for August.
Man, good luck.
Thank you.
It's tough.
Hey, we need it.
It's tough.
But no, I love how you talked about the research at MD Anderson and it all worked out just because you asked. And that's what we talk about all the time. Like how important it is to just ask. The worst somebody can say is no.
Shoot your shot.
Shoot your shot.
Yeah.
We'll see if it works out or not. And
exactly.
All the guests that we've had so far on our podcast is we just ask. And somebody replied, somebody said no, and somebody didn't reply. But whoever did attend the podcast, all were like cold emails or cold.
Yeah. So
right. Yeah. I mean, nobody's gonna hand you if that's what you want. Medicine is what you want, or whatever it is you want. Nobody's gonna hand it to you. Correct. You have to be active and go. Create opportunities, knock on every door, and if somebody says no, okay, you move on to the next one.
Exactly.
And just keep doing that until somebody says yes.
Yeah, one thing we talk about on the podcast is resilience, and I guess like your story is very resilient because you never gave up. You still wanted to go to med school. That was like your mission, and you stuck with it. So I gotta respect that. And then I guess we move on to the next segment.
Now I want to talk about your journey from medical school to your fellowship. You attended Rocky Vista University College of Osteopathic Medicine. When you were deciding where to attend medical school, what stood out to you about Rocky Vista and how did that environment shape you both personally and professionally during those 4 years, given the holistic approach of the DO school?
Yeah, so I actually didn't know too much about what DO was. I think I made the mistake the first times I was applying to medical school. I didn't necessarily apply to DO schools, and I mostly only applied to, Texas has their own app.
Correct.
And I only did Texas. Exactly.
Yeah.
because I wanted to stay close to home, and I always assumed like, oh, I'm gonna get in, and so I was like, I don't need to worry about applying other places. And I think that was a mistake. I applied twice and didn't get in, and then the third time I was like, okay, I did the same thing the first 2 times. I only applied to Texas schools. Let me see what else is out there. And, I think I was thinking also too much about like tuition, and obviously in-state's going to be way cheaper.
Yeah.
And then out of state, some of these schools are 4x, 5x what you're going to pay in Texas. And, then I stopped thinking about all that, and I found DO, and I was reading about it, and there's a lot of misconceptions, I think, initially that you'll read online. But
in the past, I feel like it was looked down upon, but now you look at it, a DO doctor and an MD doctor, they have the same authority.
Yeah.
They have the same power to prescribe medication and everything. And honestly, the only difference I see is DO has more holistic approach, which is good. I think it should be.
I agree.
Exactly.
Treating anybody, you should see all possible outcomes or all possible opportunities.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. If you go to the doctor, you have no idea if they're a DO or MD unless you ask them, or what's your degree in, or look at their name tag and just look at the initials. Otherwise, you'd have no clue.
No clue.
But yeah, it is a little bit different approach to medicine. It's not necessarily a different education, but it's everything MDs learn. You take all the same classes, learn all the same information, but then you also learn osteopathic medicine. And the philosophy of DO is mind, body, spirit, everything's interconnected. One thing affects the other, a structure affects function. Problem in one area is going to affect other areas. So it's all like interconnected.
That's why I think DOs are becoming more accepting applicants as well, and more schools are opening up. DO schools are opening up, so which is good.
And my next question is, when you did your residency in internal medicine, it is often described as one of the most transformative and demanding periods in a physician's journey. Looking back at your time at LSU, what were some moments or experiences that really challenged you, changed your perspective, or helped shape the kind of physician you wanted to become?
Yeah, so IM residency was tough. My first year, my intern year, I think I started 2019 July. 3 quarters through my first year was when COVID happened, and that was not something expected at all, obviously. Here we are going through learning how to do doctor stuff and learning how to be a doctor, and then boom, all of a sudden you have a big worldwide pandemic, and then we're expected, we're kind of just thrown into the fire. So that was an experience, having to deal with that, especially as a first year. Then it's from there, I think the experience at LSU very specifically is you can't get that education elsewhere because you're in an underserved area. You're in a lower socioeconomic area in Louisiana, Shreveport. And you see a lot more disease, especially later stages of diseases that you probably wouldn't see in a big city because healthcare is not as accessible. So people don't go to the doctor as often, and then their diseases can get worse, and they do get worse, and then they present with more like late stage complications. So I think that the whole experience prepared me for, what I do now. And it makes it, I think, easier, because you've seen complex things, you've done the hard stuff, and now you're dealing with a little bit easier things. I think the education and training I got there is second to none.
Oh, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
No.
I love that. And then a lot of doctors and nurses, they had the burnout. A lot of people quit during pandemic time. So was that ever the case for you? Did you ever feel like you were being burned out and you just needed a break? Maybe it's just too much going on around you.
I'm sure at some point most residents probably feel that way. It's something completely different. You've been a student your whole life. You study, you take an exam, you study, you take an exam. You just rinse and repeat for many years. And then in residency, sure, it's a very different beast. You're working, now you're applying what you're learning to real life, and you're making decisions. Though, sure, you're under a licensed physician and attending physician to guide you, but I would say that definitely can become challenging, and that responsibility, and then the working hours. Sure, yeah, there's an ACGME, there's a governing body to regulate all these things, but in COVID time also, maybe that gets thrown out the door a little, and then you're dealing with such complex things and you don't necessarily know it all, right? Like, you can't know it all. And COVID especially was new for everybody. So attending, upper level resident intern, it's new for everyone. So I think that can add a little burnout. Just, the constant going. But then the reasons why you're in it, I mean, that's what keeps you going. So I think that's why you have to really want to do medicine to be able to get through it.
Yeah, especially like that unprecedented time of COVID. I feel like no one expected that to happen too, right? Like, especially imagine like your residency, you're like going to residency, you're like COVID,
and then that happens.
And then, you're doing ICU stuff all the time because all the hospital floors have been converted to more ICU rooms and nobody knows what's going on. You look at the news every day. There's, you look at the stats, this many new cases this day, and then everyone's coming out with theoretical treatments and, you should be doing this or you should be doing this. And it's, but I mean, we got through it. Right? And I think that's also a testament to collaboration amongst physicians worldwide. People discovering things in one country or this country and sharing it with others, right? And that's how we all learned together to handle this.
And then I want to talk about your fellowship. You decided to do a subspecialty in gastroenterology and hepatology.
Yeah.
What drew you toward that over other fields within internal medicine specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, I've always looked at GI, and it's one I was good at it in med school. It was one of my best classes and best courses. I just found it the most interesting because I like to eat. And then I thought, well, where does all that food go? It goes to your stomach, goes to your intestines, and there's a way to optimize that. Because what I tell people is your body's like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or an F1 car. You got to put high quality stuff into you to get good results. So I did well in that in school, and then I thought, okay, well, I could be good at this, and then I did some rotations in GI in med school when I was in Colorado, and then I saw the procedural aspect, and I really wanted to be good with my hands. Because I also thought that's one way to separate myself, because everybody in medicine is going to be smart in some way. Yeah. And I'm not necessarily, I would say, the smartest person in school, right? But physical wise, I thought I could be the best at that because I grew up playing video games, Halo, Call of Duty all the time. And you're playing with a controller. And then, like a scope, an endoscope is kind of like a controller. It's just an extension of your hand. You're using your hands and you're turning wheels with your other hands like a controller. And it's like very similar. So I took that. That's what I liked about it the most, the heavy procedural aspect.
Plus, video games, man. Exactly. Who would have thought? Your parents are younger, like, it's not going to help you in life. Guess what? It did.
It paid off. So, not listening and staying up late and playing video games paid off.
And you better doctor cousin.
What can anybody say now? It worked.
Look at me now. Yeah. All right, the next set of questions I have is about gastroenterology in general. You're our first guest as a gastroenterologist. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, and then I guess, can you explain what a specialty is for some of our viewers who aren't aware?
Yeah, so I deal with the whole gastrointestinal system. So what does that mean to somebody? Anywhere mouth to anus, essentially, right? It's one long pipe, and I deal with problems from anywhere on that pipe. And you have your liver, you have your gallbladder, your pancreas, everything like in the gut area. We deal with digestive issues, swallowing issues, acid reflux. A lot of people get that, especially, South Asian community. Spicy food sets people off.
Yeah.
So anything like that, and I'd say one of the biggest things we do is, procedures, colon cancer screening, colon cancer prevention. That's probably one of my most favorite things to do because, as we know, colon cancer is on the rise, and this is the best way to combat that. But we also take care of, liver problems,
Mhm.
cirrhosis of the liver, and like inflammatory bowel disease, a bunch of different things.
Yeah, and because you guys deal with a lot. People don't realize you guys deal with a lot.
We do.
Yeah, the whole digestive system is very complex, and
It
dealing with
is.
that is no joke.
Right.
And I guess talking, because you kind of mentioned food, is GI conditions are heavily tied to lifestyle and diets. How do you approach helping patients make a like change rather than just prescribing medicine?
So yeah, that's a big thing that I like to focus on, because everything I think a majority of things can be controlled with lifestyle, and we don't necessarily get that education growing up, like in elementary school or junior high. We're not really taught about how to eat, what to eat, and what to look at.
Yeah.
And so that's something I always wish I would have learned much earlier in life.
Yeah.
But, it's through trial and error. I learn things and I read different, research and all that. But focusing on lifestyle, educating people instead of saying, hey, we're just going to throw a medicine at this. I never think that's the right thing. Always, sure, medications have a role, but everything, you should always try these like lifestyle things first, because I think, the less medications you're on, the better.
The better.
And if you can prevent things with diet, which a lot of GI issues you can, that's always going to be best. And so what I do is I educate people and I tell them, like, look, we can manage these things with diet. And if we just educate, because, if we didn't learn this growing up, well, how are you going to know this information? Right? So it's all about education. And then, if we try these things and they don't work and we've made good efforts, well, then medication has a role.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's just jump straight to that.
Yeah.
Give somebody a chance to learn and make changes. And then if they still need a little help, getting relief from symptoms, well, then we can do that too. So, we educate, we try to change things. And if we need a little help, well, medication has a role.
Yeah, and we had a doctor talk about, he was a psychologist, also talking about a similar thing, is like, he would try to prescribe medicine last case, right? Because there's preventable ways you can, Dr. Brown. So there's a lot of preventable ways with diet, exercise, right?
Right.
So I think that's very important for a lot of people to be more educated on, because they go to the doctor like, okay, I want this medicine. Well, hold on. Like, let's try to find another solution first. Yeah, like, go work out, please.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah. And I guess talking about social media, because it has grown a lot. Like, I see my mom on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and she sends me all this health stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to talk about this is, what's the biggest misconception that you see with
Yeah, so I mean, to be very honest, I don't know every single thing that gets put on social media, right? But I know of some things. A lot of people talk about like colonics and colon cleanses, and do this, take this supplement for your liver, take that supplement for your gut. But I think I think these things have some value sometimes, but a lot of it can also be harmful, right? We don't necessarily know if these things are research backed or data backed, and putting it out like at a mass scale like that, I mean, not necessarily the best, I would say. But I'm not sure of everything that goes on, but the biggest thing I've seen, and I hate to see it sometimes because I get a lot of people in clinic asking me about it, is, I want to do like a colon cleanse or this kind of cleanse. And, my response to that is, well, I don't necessarily recommend that. Please don't just go and do that on your own and, watch a TikTok video and go do it. There can be problems. Always, I would say consult a physician. And if you just make some changes in your lifestyle, well, then you don't need these other things.
Yeah.
And, these things can be harmful. They can do harm.
Yeah, I see so many people say like, no, I know what's true. I saw it on TikTok.
Okay.
I
hold on.
I hear it all the time.
It's research based on TikTok.
Right.
And supplements too are becoming such a big thing, and it's so many new ones, and they're not, like you said, not all research backed, which is a big problem.
Right.
Research is very necessary for a lot of those supplements.
Yes.
Yeah. And we move on to the last segment.
Perfect. Now, I do want to talk about a publication that I came across that you were featured on, and it was about a rare case involving a 17-year-old patient with T-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia who was also found to have cirrhosis. Since cirrhosis, you may know, is an uncommon thing at that age, what made this case stand out to you early on?
Well, I mean, just from what you said, a 17-year-old with cirrhosis and, no real like family history of liver problems. And that was, I was like, wow, I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah.
I remember I had that case when I was in residency, and I didn't understand, well, why does he have cirrhosis? He's so young, and all the lab work we had checked came back kind of normal for all these different genetic causes of liver problems. And then, we started looking at his medical history. Okay, well, what medications have you been on? What kind of treatment are you on for the cancer? And then we kind of looked at, okay, well, everything else has come back negative, and this medication we read about, and it can lead to like liver damage. And I think it did over a course of time, over a course of some years. And then, he ended up getting cirrhosis of the liver. And that was totally news to him, and we were not expecting that. But, we educate, and that can change, because that can change an outlook on your life and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. Or, if like a lot of people, when they go off to college, if they think about alcohol, and, that's something we had to really educate on, like, you really got to avoid this. And, maybe you don't want to be doing that because it can make things worse.
Yeah.
So it's all just about educating. But that was a very rare case, and we, I think, wrote it up and presented it. And, it's just being aware. That's how we progress in medicine. People write up cases, and we learn from that.
Yeah.
So next time we see somebody with this certain type of cancer on this certain type of chemotherapy, well, we make sure we monitor their liver and make sure nothing is being affected. So it's a great way to, one, not only highlight possibilities that are in medicine, because you don't learn every single thing in med school. It's a continuous process. And, that's ways for physicians as individuals to contribute to the field as a whole.
Yeah.
Because
the last doctor that we interviewed, he had a very similar thing to say. He was a
interventional cardiologist,
and he said, you will not know the answer to everything, and it's okay to go up to your supervisor or your peers and ask them. It's all about teamwork. It's all about, you're not in like just a one-man army situation.
Right.
You have to know it all, or you lose it all. You can ask for help. People around you will always be there to guide you, and if you don't have an answer, it's okay.
Yeah, and collaboration, right? Like the collaboration with physicians. Publications help other physicians. They'll look at your publication and be like, oh my God, like
exactly, you learn something. And you can never stop learning, because if you do stop, well, then if you're practicing, you're maybe practicing out-of-date things.
Progression, right? Medicine progressing like crazy, so you got to keep up.
Always, you got to keep, it's constant learning. It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
So, it's just reading and, reading research, and that's how you learn and stay up to date.
Now, you already hear medicine, you're going to keep learning after med school.
Exactly.
Get prepared.
It doesn't stop.
And are you still involved in any sort of more research, or was it just the case for residency? And
I would say for me personally, it was mostly just residency, trying to get into fellowship. It's not something I was very big on. I was always more focused on the clinical aspect, but it has a significant role, but it just wasn't something I focused on. But it's it's all part of the playing the game, right? To get into med school, and then once you get into residency, then you got to figure out, well, if you're thinking about a fellowship, well, how do I separate myself? What do I need to do to put on my resume and get my foot in the next door?
Yeah, I can resonate with that, because I do not like research. I don't enjoy it. I think it's, just a lot of reading and stuff. But I enjoy clinical side, like patient side. Like that was one thing I want to go to medicine and focus more on. He's more research.
Yeah, I enjoy research side of medicine. Yeah, but I do like the clinical side as well. But in the future, whatever field I end up in, I want to do a good balance of both. So do the clinical side, but be involved in some sort of research, publications, and all that.
I'd say, whatever interests you the most, do that.
I'm gonna do what you did. Copy that.
And we can move on to our last segment.
Last segment is advice for viewers. Again, a lot of our viewers are undergrad, pre-med, or even just looking like what medicine is the right choice for them, right? What do you think students today often overlook or misunderstand about what it really takes to build a meaningful, fulfilling career in medicine and or research, especially just beyond academic or technical like milestones?
Yeah, so I guess, I think the biggest thing, what I think people focus too much on is the timeline. Oh, well, I have to, graduate undergrad 4 years, go straight into medicine and, graduate in 4 years, and then I need to be on this timeline. But, you can plan, but, it's not really going to happen that way always. And, I think you have to be okay with it not going according to plan, because a lot of this is not in your control, right? You can control what you can, and that's, doing your school, getting good grades and putting in the effort. But, even despite that, you may not get in. And, what always was biggest thing for me was, I knew I wanted to go into med school and I wanted to do this. And so for me, my parents would ask me, well, what's your plan B? What are you doing now?
You said
Especially, yeah, exactly. Especially after I didn't get in the first 2 times. Well, I said, well, my plan B, C, D, E is to keep applying. Like, this is the only thing.
I love that.
I love that.
And I think for anything that you do, not just medicine, it has to be like that. If you want to be, get to the very top, it has to be something that it's the only thing you're going to do. It has to be that.
Obsession to it.
Exactly, yeah. And that's any field.
Yeah.
That's what Kobe Bryant talks about, right?
Yeah.
He says you have to be in love with the journey. That's the dream, not the destination.
Exactly.
It's the, the waking up early.
Are part of the journey. It's okay. It's not a failure. You're going to learn, and then you're going to reapply and be just fine. And I love what you said, like your plan B, C, D, all of that.
All is med school.
Med school, because I feel like a lot of you do have sometimes family pressure and everything from your parents, and then everybody, same thing, ask me, oh, what if this doesn't work? Or no, it will work out. I will make sure.
It's gonna have to, yeah.
It may take me longer, but it will happen. So
and
I love the mindset that you want.
The timeline aspect is very important too, because I think now we're seeing more gap years, people taking their time. But before it was like, okay, going straight into med school. My mom even asked me, she's like, "Are you applying?" I was like, "No, I'm taking a little bit of time off."
Yeah,
it's very important.
And you gain different experiences, right? To grow up. Like, that's the biggest thing I would say. Like, going straight through, in my opinion, it's good to have some time in between, because you may not be as mature as you need to be able to get through med school and to really buckle down, focus, and study. And you do have to make a lot of sacrifices, I would say.
Yeah.
At least for me, I did. If you're maybe a little better at school, then you don't have to always be studying. But that's what med school was for me. And it was hard for me, and it wasn't easy. So you have to be okay with, missing an event here and there, and just putting in your time, focusing, studying, and just doing what you need to do to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Because I think it just takes effort. And if you put all your effort into it, it'll work out eventually.
Yeah.
And it may not be on your timeline, but if you just keep a positive attitude, you just keep trying, then eventually it will work out. And looking back, I feel like a lot of students worry, right? In undergrad, oh, I didn't get the right score. Is it all over? I went through that. I didn't do great on the MCAT. It's not like I, killed it or anything. And even same thing with like step 1. Back when I took it, it was still like you get a numerical score. But, I got mine back, and I was like, oh man, I didn't do so great. Is GI even an option for me still? I used to worry about that all the time. And now looking back, you can only really say it on the back end, looking back.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, don't stress, don't worry. It'll all work out. And yes, it's important, but it doesn't determine if you're going to be a good doctor, these test scores, and doesn't determine if you're good at what you do or if you know what you're doing. It's just an exam, and doesn't necessarily equate to real life, how you work.
Yeah.
Because you need the knowledge, but if you can't apply that knowledge and talk to somebody, and have a good a good way to connect with people, you can't really practice what you know. So it's all just I think trying hard. And if you just have to really be determined, and that's true with anything that you do.
Yeah, resilience, right?
Exactly.
That's one of the biggest things.
Great advice. I love that. And my final question to you is, for a student listening right now who feels overwhelmed by expectations and uncertain about their future in science or medicine, you kind of already answered this. However, what is one truth you wish someone had told you earlier in your own journey, straight out of college or maybe early med school days, that you wish you would have known earlier, basically?
That's a really good question. Because I've always sure I have a few mentors along the way, and they would always. I think that's necessary. You do need mentors to guide you through this and tell you what to expect. But I think it's hard to understand as you're going through it, and because your mentors are giving it to you from a perspective from having already gone through it. And sure, I knew medicine was going to be hard, and you really have to try. But I feel like don't really truly understand that until you've gone through it, until you've had to make sacrifices about, hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, and, this medical journey. You don't necessarily get to choose where you go. You go wherever you're accepted, and, the match process as well. And you have to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And, being okay with being uncomfortable. And because nothing's going to go according to your plan, but you pivot and you adjust and you be flexible. And I think also one of the biggest things is, just appreciate where you are. A lot of people in medicine, they think, once you get to undergrad, you have stresses, I'm sure, right? Getting into med school, am I going to get in? Am I going to get in? And you think it's going to get better or that will go away once you get in. It doesn't. It'll change into then you're thinking that. Then you're thinking, oh, well, I really need to do well in medical school. I got to get into this residency. I got to get into that residency. I got to get into there. Oh, I got to get into this pedigree, right? It doesn't, in my opinion, it doesn't really matter where you go. Don't worry about what school you get into. Don't worry about what residency you get into. You're going to be trained, and there's always equalizing steps along the way. And don't get too caught up on the next step, because then you're always going to be thinking like, well, it'll get better once I'm at that stage. And then once you get there, you think, oh, well, it's not what I thought. It'll get better once I get to the next stage. So just appreciate where you are and understand that if you do try, it will probably work out.
Yeah, like living in the present is like one of the biggest things. And also rolling with the punches, right? Life is going to throw punches at you. You got to roll with them.
Exactly.
I need to quote him down. He said, being okay with being uncomfortable by Dr. Kabir Husain. I'll quote that down.
I'm sure somebody else somewhere said that before.
We're going to make it under your name.
We can do that. We can do that.
We'll get to a neon sign saying it, Dr. Okay, before we do the outro, I did want to talk about, because you mentioned this to me before we talked, was you biked from Austin to Alaska?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because that's a really cool story.
Yeah. No, it was the summer I just graduated from UT, and then it was called Texas 4000. We were sponsored by Livestrong, and as a UT student group, I saw a flyer on campus one day, and I thought, well, I was like, whoa, that's pretty sick, and that'd be cool. I could get some stories out of that, and have a lifetime experience riding a bicycle from Austin, Texas to Anchorage, Alaska in 70 days.
Yeah.
And the whole point was to raise money for cancer research and educating people about how to reduce their risks of cancer and making sure people get your age appropriate cancer screenings. And I think we had to raise $4,500 each. So I think during my senior year, we'd just go stand out in the streets of Austin and have a big bucket and, have a big sign like, hey, we're raising money for cancer research, and people would donate. But it was a trip of a lifetime. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I thought about the resume aspect of it. And I thought it filled up, it hit every point for me. I was like, one, it's a great cause, and we're doing something meaningful and making an impact on people's lives. And then two, it's a pretty sick trip, right?
Yeah.
You're biking with 20 other college students for 70 days from, Texas to Alaska.
Yeah.
Like that's a once in a lifetime trip.
Yeah. And also like an amazing story to tell. So that's why I'm bringing it up. Because when he told me that, I was like, Alaska, hold on. That's quite a bit.
It comes up every time. I saw it also as a way to separate myself when applying to medical school. I think you have to think about those things. Right. I think it's naive to not think about that.
It's so important. Like, out of so many applicants, what can you do
Stand
that
out,
not
yeah.
everybody else is doing?
Exactly.
So,
And I mean,
course.
I think that's also something like this.
Yeah.
You know, this is not, everyone's not doing this, and
Yeah.
it's good that y'all are doing this in like your gap year, and
Oh,
you're
thank you.
networking, connecting with physicians, and, you know, just talking about people about the field you want to go into.
Yeah.
So I think this is a great way to separate yourself, doing something different. Just, you know, don't do the same thing that
Everyone
everybody
else is
does.
doing. Yeah.
Because
Gotta be unorthodox a little bit, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because if you do it that way, well, there's always going to be somebody better,
Yeah.
right? There's always going to be somebody smarter or has better grades. So in that aspect, you have to separate yourself, and this I think is a great way.
And like knowing your strengths is a big part of who you are as a person. Because again, I'm not the smartest person in the room all the time, right?
Neither.
But sometimes I can probably talk better or network better than someone, maybe
Right.
more sociable. So I can just build off of that aspect.
You
of
just have to know your own skills, what
Yes.
you're stronger at,
Yeah.
what's your weakness, and then you work on your weaknesses and you keep highlighting your strengths. Yeah.
And I love your mindset too. I feel like you were like Medschool. I'm going there.
Yeah, no, I mean, man, I mean, I was lucky to know what I wanted to do, or I had, you know, aspirations. Sure, I mean, maybe I wanted to be an NBA player at some point, but you know, I realized that probably
Like
quickly
so many
went out the door.
brown kids,
Yeah.
they
Hey, South Asian, like Pakistanis, like I have the height, but I never wanted to play in.
I
you know,
realized I
basketball.
don't have the height or athleticism, and it's like, what's plan B? And play, you know, then I went to medicine. But you know, no, it's a great field. It's a people field, and that's why probably a big reason I chose it. It's not the same every single day. You're not just clocking in, clocking out. You're talking to new people.
Exactly, and you see so many different lives and like, you know, their stories, and it's a very
Yes.
rewarding field where you feel better about helping the community out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's also another reason why I liked my experience at Shreveport so much. Because I would say the average education reading level in Shreveport is not that high,
Yeah.
and you're helping people who are looking for your help, like truly looking for your help. They need you to help them. And I think something a lot of physicians or a lot of people in medicine think is, well, you have to be a certain way when you're working, or you have to talk a certain way. I think you have to tailor that to each person,
Different.
and otherwise you can't connect with them. And if you can't connect with a patient, well, it'll be tough to get information out of them about their, you know, disease or their symptoms. They have to be able to trust you. And I think the way to build trust is being able to talk to them just like a regular person. You don't need to use the most scientific terms or, you know, talk in a extremely academic way. You just need to be able to talk to them to get the information that you need to be able to help.
Yeah.
And I think if you can't do that, well, it doesn't matter how smart you are or what your grades were. Well, it doesn't matter if you can't get the information and connect with the person.
Yeah.
Because this is a people first field, right? Your people are coming to you and trusting you. And if they're in your office or they're in the hospital, it's probably not a great day in their life, right? They're probably sick or something going on. And, you know, the trust that you have in that room talking to them, well, they may tell you things that they don't tell anybody else. They don't tell their spouse or their family members, but they trust you with that information. But to be able to create an environment for them to be able to give you information that you need that they may not necessarily tell anybody, I think that's an overlooked skill and an overlooked quality, because it's not just about, you know, not like academic. If you have to be able to connect with people, but you need both.
Yeah.
It's not just one or the other.
People skills are very important in medicine. Very important. And we're at the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for coming on. Really, I think your journey is very inspiring, especially to us too, because we're in our gap years. People are like timeline.
Yeah.
But it's really the whole reason we started this is highlight the journeys of individuals like yourself that are, everyone's journey is different, right? There's no timeline. It's like a fingerprint kind of, like everyone's different in their own way. And yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
And if Dr. Husain's story inspired you, be sure to like, subscribe, share this episode, and remember, keep dreaming. We will see you next time on the Dreamers Podcast.
Peace.
Thank you.